Okay, this is an explanatory analysis for how some AI technologies, which are producible reasonably fast, with basically things which can branch off existing products, please, within reasonable time frames. Most of them, yeah, be shortcut applications, please. Oh no. My Acura assist in certain types of visual effects that might occur in filmmaking. So yeah, I'm going to just start at this 8 minutes 36 seconds in the so-called Gen 4 video on the AI Grid channel. And then we'll look at what technology you're talking about and see how we can actually implement here in this little studio. Okay, here we go.
The after effects on certain scenes that you otherwise would have thought is real. Now, VFX is often so good that you won't realize what you're watching actually has VFX on top of it. As the VFX artists say, good VFX you can't really see. And
Okay, another thing is I'm not going to try to replicate what has already been done because it's like video on video. Please.
the thing about VFX, though, is that VFX is.
Oh, finally, just a warning. There's going to be no purchase of anything. Yeah, we'll find ways to rig demos what we got, please.
Probably one of the most time-consuming things of any filmmaking scenes that you have to do. In these big Hollywood films, VFX not only does it take time, it often costs millions of dollars, and they're paying these animation studios millions of dollars, and these animation studios, they are essentially paying millions of dollars in server farms to rent out GPUs so that they can render all of the stuff as quickly as possible. So VFX usually it actually requires huge teams working frame by frame, and with AI, complex tasks like rotoscoping, object removal, motion tracking, all of this stuff can now be automated. Like what used to be
I'll give an example. That list is not please, not methods, please.
tedious manual labor can be done in minutes or in real time.
Yeah, that is subject areas, not methods, please.
So instead of 40 minutes cleaning up a shot, Runway can handle it instantly. And like as before, one of the biggest things that these companies are focused on is the cost. Maybe you're a agency or a short film studio, and you don't want to have to spend millions of dollars on VFX. You can use.
Please note that research houses are prohibited from law. Please, from discussing costs. Please.
A tool like Runway to enhance that production level quality. I'm sure some of you have probably seen a TV show and you've been thinking, wow, the visual effects on that shot is just absolutely awful. And guys, it's not because the VFX artists are bad. It's oftentimes because number one, they may have run out of time because, like I said before, it is time consuming because you need to get it to look real. And number two, they may not have enough, budget to be able to pay good enough people so that they can actually get the VFX that looks really realistic. Maybe they're just paying someone really cheaply, and of course, if you're paying someone cheaply and quickly to get it done, it's never going to come out well. So, this is really also, good because if this, is using AI, if you're using a generative model, you can actually quickly test different looks, swap out the environments, adjust the lighting, and you won't have to reshoot, rebuild.
Okay, commenter on the AI Grid channel is not an expert. Okay, this guy is not an expert. Please don't hold any water what he says, please. He's just saying stuff, please. He's not an expert. Okay, what I say is going to represent expert. I'm going to proof. That's why, please.
Build sets in 3D, and this makes the creative process actually much fun, much faster, and more experimental. So if you wanted to go from a sunny place to being on fire, you could do that. So I think.
Okay, we're going to go ahead and talk about that one. So here's an example. I'm going to go ahead and get a photo, please. We're going to start with just a photo. I'm going to say we're going to take a photo and, set on fire. And then we're going to see that this is actually a very complex task that requires AI assistance, really, first for figuring out how we're going to do it. So I'm going to give an example here because here's the first one. Yeah, I'm going to demonstrate some AI. See, okay, what I'm going to do is I'm going to use Google Images to source some, reference images. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to just go to images.google.com. And I'm going to type in, bright daylight scene. Immediately, I'm reminded of something which I was told in, especially effects class in high school. That makes no sense. It's the idea that one should not look at other people's work because their ideas might be tainted. Anyway, a search starts to show, it gives suggestions of what the actual problem may be and helps people understand, what the thing they're trying to accomplish is. That's efficient and productive. Okay, the next problem is dealing in a sensible way with the extremely complicated NVIDIA interface. There are a couple problems here. Here's why systems like the Commodore 64, the Sega Genesis, even the PlayStation, the first PlayStation, exist in a reality defined by God to progress in a specific way. This is what's required, please. This is what's required to rasterize a square on the Commodore 64. I'm going to make up the numbers because I don't feel like looking up numbers. What is this? Poke 2378, 156. That command by itself will rasterize a small square programmatically on the Commodore 64 at machine level. The following is a simulation of what's required to rasterize a square on a Sega Genesis using knowledge about that type of hardware. And let me invent the development kit real quick. Please wait. Okay, this is what's required. What you do is you turn the Macintosh, you put in the diskette labeled simple objects. You insert that diskette and you let it initialize. You then enter your username and password, and then blow the whistle. They have the admin come over and enter his password so you get access to your Sega Genesis development system. You then select new template, new configuration, and then video options. From that menu, you select default character dummies, and that brings you to the character dummy screen where you can design your square using the interactive user interface thing. Yeah, reasonable. Okay, this is what's required to rasterize a square using 3D graphics, using actual 3D graphics on a NVIDIA system. That requires a program over 300 lines long. Using that compact fuzzy stuff that I use. That also requires over 200 APIs, and knowledge of those APIs takes at least a month each. Yeah, I have a problem there.
In a dream I could see you are not far away. Anytime, any place, I can see your face. You're that special one that I've been waiting for. And I hope you're looking for someone like me. In my dreams, I I can hear you calling me in the night. Everything is so sweet in your eyes. I feel there's so much inside. Oh yeah. In the night, dream delight. I want to see you standing there. In the night, dream delight. I found someone who really cares. In a dream we can do everything we want to. There's nowhere I'd rather be but here with you. The stars above light the way only for you and I. I'm so glad I found the one I've been looking for. Keep the dream of the one you're hoping for. Love can come through an open door. Just be strong, and you're sure to find the one. Find the way in the night. Delight. I want to see you standing there in the night. Dream delight. I found someone who really cares. In the night, dream delight. I want to see you smile again. In the night, dream delight. You are the one I've waited for.
Pull for email, please. Yeah, so we're not dealing with something too complicated. Okay, so I'm in Outlook, so I'm gonna manually post for email. So I'm gonna push the check mail button. Now, this application with this design, or I should say most applications with this design, run a specialized version of Windows Forms. So here's what happens. Let's assume that the application already knows about the command. Let's assume the application is simply executing the command, okay? So let's skip the UI and all that crap, please. All the application wants to do is pull for email. So the first thing we're going to do is create another disk session. So I'm going to call create virtual drive. The reason why create virtual drive is called, rather than actually just checking a mail server, is because apparently the programmers at Microsoft are so weeaboo, they don't know how else to avoid being shot by all the guys who break into the building carrying guns.